Greeting once again. It is July 14th. I'm just getting my hair just right because it's very important for a good vlog. I sort of teased on Saturday that something big might be coming, and it's really probably not that big. But on Sunday, I was able to go back to the house, which I'm highly confident, not 100% because you know how things go in micro budget filmmaking, but I'm pretty highly confident that it will be the house we use for the majority of the interiors. It's the house basically that 65 or whatever percent of the film takes place in and around. So identified 2 bedrooms we can use, the kitchen, dining room, living room, which is kind of a big open space, so that'll be interesting to shoot in. They have a very tight bathroom that we're hopefully, we don't have a choice. We have to make it work somehow. They have a hallway. They don't really have this writing room that we need, so I'm still struggling with that a little bit. But so I'm thinking of rewriting the script just to acknowledge the realities of what the layout of the house is. So it's not really rewriting it, it's kind of tweaking it. And then we looked, the son who lives there took me back in a mule 4-wheel version to sort of the back 40, because we talked about shooting in the woods there, which belonged to some neighbors, and the neighbors were over. But it turns out that when we're going to film is right when bow season starts, so that kind of nixed that. The good news is they have some nice fields, and they'll probably be as picturesque or even more so than the woods would be. So that turned out well. So overall, that was positive. And then, I don't know if it's bigger news or not, but what I did after that, and I think I've mentioned their names, Brett and Reese, 2 of my sons and 2 of the co-stars or the stars, I don't know what you want to call them. Featured, no, more than featured. I mean, you could say there's 4 stars in the movie if that's possible. I guess it's a mini ensemble. Anyways, they got on a Zoom call with me. We opened the script and we started going through it. And we kind of gave ourselves 2 hours to go through as much as we could. And I had no idea what they were thinking, what they had in mind, if it was just going to be some little dialogue things or exactly what. So it was one of those things that I was excited. I don't know about nervous. I wasn't really apprehensive, but I figured they would have some thoughts. So I won't go into it in depth. I did record it, and someday I will release it to YouTube. It's 2 hours long, so beware. And I don't know that anyone would be interested in it until the movie is a success. And then you could go on and look back and say, oh, that's when they changed this to this, or that's when they cut out that, or that's where that idea came from. So I think it will have some historic value or historical. I always get those 2 mixed up. So quick anecdote, could be an antidote too. Quick anecdote. So we open it up and we have this first scene, which is kind of, I mean, it sets some things in motion even from the first scene. It's about half a page, and Brett says, I want to talk about this first scene. I don't really like this whole setup. And immediately it's like your defenses go up as the writer who spent 2.5 years working on this through many iterations. And I'm like, whoa, I'm silently, of course. And then Reese said, I think, so Brett basically laid out a new scenario, and Reese said, oh, I bet we could do this, this, and this. And then I started warming up to the idea. I thought, one less location, which is putting on my producer's hat. So I haven't written it yet, but I took some notes, as many as I needed to. And I think it'll be, I mean, the opening scene wasn't really funny, but this is going to be more of a montage to get us to the place where we approximately were. It's going to take out a lot of the contrivance, if that is a word, and make it more of the audience sees what's going on. And then when we arrive at this first scene, when she's talking to her acting teacher, people will get what led up to it. So we talked about that for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. So I think that's going to be a fun, exciting change. So I'm going to start implementing that. And then from there, it was mostly on their end, it was mostly cut. We don't need this. We don't need that. And me, of course, sometimes jokingly, sometimes not, saying, hey, look, I've got control because I've got the script open on my computer. But we got it up to page 30 in 2 hours. And we've cut about 3 pages, I think. I think their secret goal, because their acting teacher who had read the script said, oh, you could get it down to really tight 90-page script. And I'm fine with that if it leaves some breathing room, because I want the movie to be at least 90 minutes, not including the credits. To me, that is the bare minimum for a movie, especially a non-animated feature. I know a lot of animated features could be 82, 85, whatever. My first 3 movies were 100 minutes, more or less. So I'm thinking somewhere between 90 and 100 minutes. So what I'm getting at is that all of these cuts that we have made, and I assume there'll be some more, may give us a little breathing room to develop some things visually and just let them play a little longer as needed. So, yeah, we went through, as we went, well, I was going to say as we went, we made fewer changes, but that's not really true. Some scenes more or less stayed intact. Most of them got a little tweak. Several of them got at least 2 or 3 lines of dialogue cut. And because we changed the beginning, of course, you get the ripple effect. And so some of the early, not the first scene, but 2 or 3 of the early scenes, which depended on what we had laid out in the first scene. If that's no longer going to be there, then we got to rewrite that. When I say we, I mean me. So I'm going to work on that, not tonight, probably tomorrow. I like to give it at least, well, it's been 24 hours, but I like to give it, a day or 2 to sink in, because the impulse is to jump right in and start hacking away or whatever before it gets stale. But between the notes I took and the fact that I did screen record the whole thing, usually I find that if you can give it a little time to soak in, it's harder to do, it's harder to wait, but it inevitably makes for better rewriting, in my opinion. So that was sort of the big news I was teasing. We're going to do more of this, obviously. And it was really fun to get a little sentimental, to do this with your sons, who are now grown men, getting very good at what they do, looking at scripts from the actor standpoint, of course, instead of the producer-director standpoint. So it's really story, character. What are the choices they're making? What's the conflict in the scene? What's the change agent? What are they getting out of the scene? So it was really enjoyable to do that. Made me feel good, and I know that it will result in a stronger script. So then, to top off the day, I did order a gently used lens, Sigma 18-35. I found out, which was sort of unfortunate, they have this brand new 17-40, which is getting good reviews. It's literally just out and just shipping. However, the one I got is 18-35, so you lose a little on both ends. But I was able to get it, and I don't have it yet, so it could be a piece of junk. I don't think it will be. But when it's all said and done, including tax and everything, it's going to be about, what did I pay for it? It's going to be about $400 cheaper. So money we can spend elsewhere. And I put a few other things in my cart at B&H, a follow focus and a memory card. There's no giant rush to get either one. I'm still kind of piddling around with that. Still looking at airline tickets. So there's so much stuff that goes into pre-production that is, as I said before, not creative at all. And the other thing I think I mentioned before is that every day I try to do at least one thing toward making the movie, knowing that now I'm afraid to calculate, but it's less than 3 months. July, August, September, October. So we have most of July, all of August, all of September. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be here before we know it. And again, it's not a sure thing until the cameras are rolling. I'm still waiting to hear on the cameraman, etc. So a lot of balls still up in the air, but it was a great Sunday, and I'm looking forward to some more good ones, not just Sundays, but other days of the week coming up. So thanks for sticking with me. Go make a movie. Tell me how you do it, and then we'll both be better for it.